absolute buttfuck craziest dream. Like, dream of the year for me, for sure, last night. And it was like, it was one of those dreams, like I woke up at like 8 a.m. and then I fell asleep and continued the dream. It was one of those. It was just crazy. And it had aliens in it. That's a fun fact as well. Like these aliens, xenomorphs. Spiff had a buttfuck dream. He did. Well, no, he didn't, but you know what I mean. You know, he did. It had no sexual intercourse in it. It involved me having to hide the decapitated head of somebody I was being blamed for the murder of. Bam. And it also had aliens in it. And I was like at a kid's park. We're gonna do a bit of practice. Okay, I can tell my dream now. So, first it started, like, you know, just family, living at home, normal. For some reason, I had already killed somebody. I had a vague memory of, like, strangling a child that I was babysitting. I don't know why, but I'd never been caught. This was just in my dream self memories. So I was already a killer. And I was just like, this is a dream. This is a dream. Everyone, this is a dream. Okay. It has nothing to do with my real self. So I was just minding my own business. And then I was going to the corner store near my house. And there was this fight that broke out. And so naturally I went to go investigate, and there was this guy who was like super bloody, and he was fucked up. And he looked like he was seriously in trouble. So we like called for the police and an ambulance. It was probably Kipling. No, it wasn't Kipling. We called for like police and an ambulance. And so police arrived, and they were like, oh, you know, I'll help this guy out. But first I have to go to the corner store and go buy something. And I was like, what? You gotta help this guy out. And so I impatiently stayed with the guy who was, you know, he was awake, but he looked in really rough shape. And then a few minutes later, he like coughed up a bunch of blood, and like his face went white. And so I was like, oh shit, like it's now or never. This guy is dead if I don't do something to help him. So I ran into the corner store where this police officer who's supposed to be helping was, and I was like, you gotta help. And he was like talking to the corner store owner. And so he came outside with me, and the guy was dead. And the police officer whispered in my ears. He said, there's some things that you don't want to get mixed up in. And then suddenly the car where the guy who died was in was my car. And for some reason I knew that if I called the police, I would be framed for the murder. Because this guy, turns out, was like a mafia target. That's why nobody helped him. Because he was meant to die and the mafia had control of the police. So that's why they didn't help him. And now I had this body. I had this body that I had to get rid of. Because suddenly it was my fault that he was dead. And also at this time, his head got separated from his body. So I had two different parts of him to dispose of. So I had a body and I had a head to dispose of. So I went to this kids park. And it had like a really big bridge that overlooked like a big waterfall. And I threw his body over the edge. So that was body gotten rid of. But then people were going to catch me, so I had to run away with the head. So I had the head in a bag at this point. And that's when the aliens came. So suddenly everyone was fleeing from these aliens. No, it's about the big bridge at the kids' park. Suddenly everyone is fleeing from these aliens that came. And I ran with them, and like went with my family. I had the head in a backpack. So I still had to get rid of this guy's head. And so we became like refugees. And I remember going to like a store that was just overrun by refugees, and they were just giving things out. They were just giving things out because there was all these refugees from the alien invasion. But one of my family members was given like top secret info that the aliens were going to raid the store because they were looking for slaves. They were trying to enslave a bunch of humans. And so we escaped again, but I still had this body with me. Sorry, I still had this head with me, and I still had to get rid of the head. And then people started talking about this one little boy that was murdered when he was getting babysat, and I was like, oh shit, that was actually me. And so now I had 2 potential murders on my hands. And so I took a car and I drove out to like the countryside with a shovel. And I just found a random spot, and the dirt was super soft, so that was good. I found a random spot, and I dug a hole, and I put the guy's head in it, and then I kind of just woke up. That was pretty much it. It was like running from aliens as a refugee and from murder. That was my dream. Yeah, it was the wildest. Like I said, I already told you guys.
I can't believe you've done this.
It was a dream of the year for me in just insanity. And it felt really real, too. Like, when I woke up, I took a moment and I was like, I didn't kill anyone when I babysat them. I'm sure of it. Oh my god. Jesus. It was a dream. It really was a dream.